All right, welcome everyone. Today we have a Q&A session also open on the right side. Let's wait a minute or two to see that we get everyone online. Today we're going to have a huge amount of fun. It's going to be an intensive session about data and analytics and how we're going to go global in a Nordic environment. Awesome, I see a lot of people rolling in. Today we have Finland represented. I see some people from Sweden, some people from Norway, some Danes as well, and then some people I don't see where you guys are from, but it's going to be a good session today. All right, I think we're gonna hit the ground running. So hi everyone, my name is Jonathan. Today we're going to spend 45 minutes together and talk about how to go global and how to win with analytics. This is a webinar created together with some awesome networks and organizations that can help you scale globally and in the Nordics. A big shout out to the Chambers of Commerce in Sweden and the Finnish-Swedish Chamber of Commerce, and also to the business organizations in Norway that's helping us create this, and to the embassies in the different countries. So big shout out to you guys. And we also have some global software vendors also participating in this event. So thank you guys so much for putting this together and sending out information about this and spreading the word. All right. Today's webinar is going to be held in English, even though most of the Nordic people do speak Swedish or understand Swedish. But I think it's important that we do it in English so that everyone understands. But yeah, so my name is Jonathan. I'm from Greenstep. Hi, I've been with Greenstep since day one. Greenstep, I'll tell you a little bit about soon. But what I do for a living is I meet with clients and companies like yours and help them design the most awesome software infrastructure to globalize and to scale. I've met with a few thousand companies myself. Last year was a very intensive year with COVID. I met with almost 1,000 companies. I do some lecturing at some universities and some schools. And I am also part of a global network called MSI, which incorporates 100 companies like Greenstep that help you globalize and grow. So yeah, and today I represent Greenstep, but I'm also representing a software company called BIBook, which we're going to talk a little bit more about today. Now, the reason why we're here and why I'm talking about globalization is because we've, together with an awesome team of people, we built a company called Greenstep. Greenstep was founded 10 years ago, and we now employ 450 people. Our recruitment rate is probably 150 people a year, so we're growing very intensively, very heavily. We currently serve 2,000 clients in the Nordics, Finland-based, and have our roots in Finland, but have also expanded quite heavily. And we would have a Norwegian office open as well if COVID wouldn't have come, but we'll get that done as soon as we can come and visit. And we're also part of a global alliance called MSI, which means that we have a network of 100 different partners, over 100 partners all over the world that can help you globalize and localize to any country. So that's very important to know. Now, what we at Greenstep have tried to do is build a sustainable network of companies that help each other grow and be successful, which means that we have a lot of clients from different industries, different sectors who all have the same needs and same values, and together we try to share as much as possible, help each other grow. So we built the growth network on a very sustainable basis, 100% organic growth and 100% built on a very strong value base. We're privately owned. Everyone who's part of the company's ownership structure still works for the company. And we definitely strongly believe that doing things as sustainable as possible is the way forward. Now, a little bit about our clients and what we've done. We help growth companies expand and expand very rapidly. We help with all kinds of services like accounting, and legal, and tax, and that kind of stuff. But we do a lot of system implementations as well. We syndicate equity rounds. We do basically everything you need in order to be able to grow and scale and be competitive in an international environment. Here you can see some of our clients, a lot of good stories behind these, and a lot of success stories and some not so good success stories. And we're today going to go through what happened and why, and how we can make sure we don't make the same mistakes and learn from companies who have tried to go global in the past. Now, what we do before we jump into the topic today is that we help with, in a global context. I've highlighted the services that are most relative. We help with accounting. We do global group consolidation and have great tools for that. We do ERP implementations on a software called NetSuite. We have a partner network also that does Microsoft Business Central and Odoo. We do also implement other pan-Nordic softwares. You can see them in the bottom. A big shout out to ProCounter. In this context, I think it's probably one of the leading softwares if you're just going for a Nordic approach. You could do accounting in all the countries on that side. But then we do globalization as a service. We have a team focused on shared service centers and globalization centers, and we also have the MSI Network Hub. And today I've highlighted also two softwares, NetSuite, as I mentioned, but also BI-Book. It's a way to gather data from all your companies very easily. So I'll just quickly tell you about that in a bit. Now, Greenstep ourselves has gone through a globalization process, which has been a fun and interesting project. And I think a key feature to succeed in today's environment is to really focus on making your processes smarter today and not tomorrow. And that entails having some kind of software development knowledge. That is definitely a skill set you need. You also need basic tech knowledge pertaining to integrations, robotic process automation, and analytics. And all of these are services we provide. But we also have built our own software as a service products. One is Bitsala. It's a global expense claim software. Finance.rocks can automate purchase invoices, and then BIBook.com. So this is the team we've needed in order to be able to globalize and scale in a sustainable way. And it can give you guys some ideas of what kind of technologies you need in order to go forward. All right, but before we get too technical, we need to understand the reason why we're here. And the reason is that we're really, especially due to COVID, we're undergoing a very rapid globalization and expansion, and job roles are very drastically changing. And it's 100. I definitely believe that it's very certain that most of the jobs today won't exist tomorrow. And I think it's an important topic to kind of tackle and handle together, is that how do we build our organizations, build our own skill set, so we don't end up like that guy in the picture. And this is kind of the theme for today. How do you take the skill sets you already have and revamp them into today's business world, and what do you need in order to build the world of tomorrow? 80% of the jobs today will not exist. My professor at the university I studied at, she had written her doctor's thesis on how accounting and how the finance functions of the world will be automated. Sometimes in the 80s, she had written the study, and she was 100% certain that when the year 2000 comes, accountants will not be needed. The finance function will be 100% automated. And as you all know, we're very far from that. The market has never been bigger. Now, what's happening is that the job roles are definitely changing, and we're very far from the situation where we should slow down development and where we would be competing for jobs with good processes and good tools. And I think this is probably, in that previous picture, how far along we are right now in the development. We're building the machines of tomorrow. We're so far away from the world being ready and for us being able to be without jobs, since everything has been automated, and for accountants to not have jobs. That's like really so far away. And The reason for this is because the infrastructure is still so unstable, and we're lacking global standards for APIs, we're lacking global standards for accounting softwares, and everything is really hyper localized. Now that's a big trend that's changing, and you can be part of that change, but it's good to understand the kind of magic formula for that. And it's not just AI and artificial intelligence. There's so much to do in the processes. And as you can see from that chart, we kind of believe in this recipe for success. First, you need to build good processes that you can automate. You need good softwares that you can work with, and then you can inject machine learning into the processes, and then we're getting somewhere. Then we can scale and grow. So we're far from ready. We do have a lot to do in the basic stuff still, and that's what we're going to tackle today. And I really want to emphasize that it's key that you and your organization are part of the kind of solution and not the problem. So I implore you to be as agile as possible and embrace the change that's coming. And I guess that's why you're here today. Okay, so first we're going to talk a little bit about software architecture. What stacks and tools can you use to globalize? And then after that, we're going to jump in on how you're going to lead the company with analytics on a global environment. And I'm going to tell you how to do it very cost efficiently, even at zero initial investment at all, using some tools we picked out. But okay, so today's software architecture looks like this. It's a web of different pieces put together, and a lot of mix and matches, and we're living in a best of breed world. And that means that every single company today is a technology company. And it's key to understand that even whatever business you are in, if you're in the people business, B2C business, or selling to other companies, you most likely have tens of different softwares currently employed. And once you globalize, these softwares are really going to be key to your success. And once you understand that you also are a tech company, and this is very important that you understand that, we can start to ask important global questions of our software infrastructure. And the most two important are, how can we have efficient processes, and how can we understand our business? So if an average company has 20 softwares, how on earth are we going to have efficient processes with all those different tools? And we'll tackle that first, and then we'll jump in on the second question. So in a dream scenario, when you're building your global company and your global platform, you're definitely going to be choosing the simplest possible architecture. So don't pick tools just because, and don't pick too localized tools if there isn't a need to have it. The best example of this is that if you're growing big and investing a lot, there are global accounting softwares you can use. You can use NetSuite, Microsoft Business Central, you can use Odoo, Unit 4, and then some other ones like Financial Force or Workday's other spin-off. There's a lot of global ERPs that you can implement, but these cost money, and these softwares are not best of breed. So they're pretty good at a lot of stuff, but they're not best at anything. And that's why so many companies has chosen a best of breed software. And there still are a huge amount of smaller softwares that you can kind of yourself implement and yourself take into your own organization without it being one of those large ERPs. One is, for example, if we think about HR softwares, if you're gonna go global, choose an HR software that's going to support your path globally, that can work locally in any country. The second is, if you're a smaller company that's growing, establishing your first base in another country, choose your local software first so that they have a software version localized to each market. One example of that is ProCounter. Works pan-Nordic very well. Of course, they don't do the rest of the European countries or the United States or the rest of the world, but it can get you pretty far at a quite decent cost. So in order to have the most efficient processes, once you're going global, you're going to have to first think about how you're going to tackle your business problems. So look at a business problem. For example, how do we do global accounting? global accounting in a best of breed world. And what you need to do is you need to fix the root cause in the softwares, try to use the softwares you already have. If that's not possible, you need to build integrations between these different softwares, and that's really easy to do nowadays. Integration prices have come down drastically, and a lot of software vendors have pre-built integrations into a lot of different software. I need to talk about RPA, robotics, because it's such a huge buzzword right now. We do RPA as well, but RPA is not something to strive for. Robotics is not something you should be super mega proud of that you're doing. It's a cool thing. It's a buzzword. We can build and automate a lot of things, but doing robotic process automation, you're going into a software and clicking inside it and building stuff on it. Wouldn't it be better just to have the software vendor fix the original software, or to use the underlying APIs to build the connections? So that's why I implore you to avoid RPA if possible, but it's still better than doing manual integrations. And all of this software architecture and the way you connect it and think about the process, it's key in order for you to have efficient processes. And efficient processes, okay, they save you some money. That's kind of the most common value proposition of building a good software architecture. It saves you money because you don't need people who take care of it. But there is a more valuable asset that you can create for yourself if you're going global and choose your right tools. And that's definitely that you can create good data by choosing the right tools. So if you choose the right tools and the right infrastructure, your data quality will definitely increase. And then you'll have something that you can use for data analytics in the future. Okay, so it's been intense so far. We're going to continue about with the same speed. You can ask questions at any time right inside the question box, and we'll tackle them. In the end, we're going to show you some hands-on examples as well, but it's good to have the basis that you need to understand why we have to have a good software architecture in order to jump into the analytics part. Now, this picture right here, this is one of my favorite pictures that we've created. It's a sea of tennis balls that represents today's software architecture. So today we're living in this best of breed world that we've been talking about so far, and it's really siloed. So your data lives inside different tools. You have a CRM, an ERP, an accounting software. You have some web page lead generation things, maybe a time entry software. You have this huge amount of different softwares, and in order to get insight and understand your business, and not to talk about inject market data so that you can do market studies easier and better, you need to find a way to gather this data up and kind of run a business globally by removing these data silos. And how you can do that in the most easiest way is to use business intelligence tools to gather the data and create the model you need. And these business intelligence tools, there's a lot of them, a huge amount of them, and there's a good amount of localized partners as well that have localized to different accounting softwares or different ERPs or CRMs. So you should definitely, if you haven't already done the data transformation journey, think about investing in business analytics. I'll show you how to do it hands-on in a very cost-efficient way soon, but this is definitely your key to succeeding through analytics in a global environment. If you hyper-localize and you don't connect all your data up into an analytics tool, you won't be able to manage the companies as well, and you will have a hard time of understanding what's going on in your other environments. And a key feature is that there's a large chance that you're not going to be investing enough time or energy in your global expansion if you don't directly handle your subsidiaries as they're part of the larger group, as they're part of the country you're coming from. So I definitely implore you to connect all the data right away from the get-go. Okay, so now we're jumping into modern analytics and how we're using business intelligence tools to break down the data silos that are created when you go global. And we're going to give you the keys to succeed in a global environment and win with analytics. So this is the end result you should expect from any finance function or any analytics function today. You could get this inside of most of the regular software vendors you have. I mean, let's take Salesforce, for example. It's an awesome CRM. You can do all kinds of data analytics inside it, but they still decided to buy one of the largest data analytics platforms called Tableau and invest in that very heavily. So there is a large reason and a large market for data analytics. And the reason is that only these tools, these third-party tools, can gather data from all your softwares. And that's kind of key to understand, that you need to gather data from both your CRMs, your web pages, your own software, if you have one of those, your production process, and your financial data. And what business intelligence tools provides is that you can build kind of your basic reporting and have it up to date, except it'll always be up to date. It'll refresh itself. And you can also visualize your data in a much more meaningful way, and you can democratize data. So you can allow for a data sharing culture inside your organization and empower your local subsidiaries, empower your business unit lines into understanding what's going on in the different countries, in the different markets and businesses. Another key factor is that you can get depth into your data. So you can definitely drill down from everywhere into a granular level. And once you do it this way and really invest on getting the raw data from the different sources and putting that into the data analytics tools, you can get a lot more value of it. Okay, you're going to be making a larger investment upfront in your own time and energy and building the processes, creating a group account mapping and doing that kind of stuff. But you will definitely have the power after that to maintain this at a very low effort in a very cost-efficient way. And you'll have 100% clarity into your data and the ability to connect your data to other sources for further analysis. Now, some more examples. I'm going to go through 5 to 10 examples, and then we'll jump back to how you achieve this. The current state of analytics is that we're basically creating dashboards and reports that you go and look at and play around with. The future of analytics is reactive analytics, which means that the infrastructure will react when you have to react to something and inform you. So you're going to be getting in the future information on what client you should be contacting, who you should sell to, what's happening in your client network, which of your clients are going global that you can kind of piggyback on. And that's the future. But to get there, you have to build the basic analytics infrastructure to get started. And this is an example, a product we've spent a lot of time with, and in Finland we've managed to get the larger part of the venture capital business as clients on our analytics infrastructure, and we can gather data from all their investment portfolios, investment properties, and completely automate it and visualize that and create depth and understanding reporting. Some more examples of how you can use analytics if you choose the right basis tools and implement good analytics tools is kind of basic project management dashboards, going into depth into your own business, or on the marketing side to understand how you should expand, what's happening globally on your client portfolio or with your marketing data, with your HR and recruitment, and also some more examples on kind of vertical specific analytics. This examples from a real client project we've done, a global restaurant portfolio, and understanding the profitabilities and how the tastes are going and what the recipes are and what the costs are. So this is what modern analytics is. And now a lot of you are going to be saying that, okay, this is going to take a lot of energy and time, and this is going to cost a lot of money, and maybe we can't afford it, but you definitely can today, and these are very easy to implement, and I'm going to go through soon how you will do that. But this is the end goal of where every company should be right now, and this is the basis for you to get forward and to be able to. Now, next, we're going to talk about how you can achieve what we just saw and get in-depth analytics in the most cost-efficient and quickest way, but not making compromises with quality. And the secret sauce to this is doing Agile implementations. Now, by Agile implementations, I mean that The traditional way of doing global analytics is that you build a data warehouse, you design your reports with someone and do like a kickoff workshop, and then after that, someone goes and builds it, some tech person, and then you do it. That's kind of a really it's a long process and requires a lot of steps to be done before you actually see your data. And by doing the implementation hyper agilely and turning that around, you can get huge things done in a very short amount of time. So in today's world, you don't need the large data warehouse at the get-go necessarily. Some cases you do, but if you skip that step and just connect to the data, start playing around with the data like you're used to in Excel or other tools, you're going to get quite far. So connect your data as fast as possible. Play around with the data and you'll find the KPIs that drive the business, and you'll understand the business at the same time while you're playing around with your data. Tweak your analytics after that. So look for the KPIs that are really driving your business and what they are. Don't spend too much time on it before you actually see your data, because if you don't have data to back your KPIs up, they're very useless. So use the data you have and try to find KPIs inside of that data that drive your business. Now, forecasting, we need to tackle that. I see a lot of companies spending huge amount of effort on forecasting, from the get-go when they go global, but they skip the actual history reporting, and they skip and kind of cut corners on the reporting of your actual data. Forecasting is awesome, and that's something you definitely should do, and you should focus on that. But in order to be able to do it, you have to have your data, your actual data, the real data points, really good and a good quality in order to build good quality forecast models. Otherwise, your own brain is quite good at building forecast models. If your brain gets to see and play around with the real data, you're going to find the trends, you're going to find the drivers of your business and understand via that how you're going to get to where you need to be and what resources you need. And after you've done this, so you've connected to your data, played around, built your actual reporting infrastructure that you need, you've built your forecasting basic models, then and only then can you start building smart and advanced forecasting models. So forecasting based on market data, based on client portfolio, identifying which clients are relevant for you in a global context, using advanced forecasting and reactive analytics. And what's important and imperative is that you aim for full automation. So your reporting, if you go in a global context, needs to be fully automated in order to succeed. Now, next, we're going to talk about some tools, some hands-on tools, how you can win with analytics. One is Microsoft's Power BI. We mostly work with that tool. It's currently the go-to analytics tool, according to Gartner, Forrester, and me. So I would say the majority of the analytics implementations we're seeing right now are being done in Power BI. But there are some very good other tools out there that are global. Looker, ClickView, ClickSense, Tableau. All of these are valuable tools. Not to forget Excel. Excel also works well, and you can play around with that as well. But I think it's important for you to choose the right analytics tools, and by right I mean choose a global tool. Choose one with an investment, a yearly investment in R&D of over $1 billion USD, and all of these tools I just mentioned have that. You're going to find controllers who know it. You're going to find local people who know it. So choose the right analytics tool, and that's up to you what tool you choose, but make sure it's global. Okay. So if we would need to get our analytics department up and running, and we're a small company or a large company and we don't have it up and running yet, how can we get it done within a few days to get started? And that's what we're going to tackle next. So how can we get it done as fast as possible and with the best possible end result? Now, the key things that really challenge a global company is first core business management. A lot of effort is being put into replicating your localized market that you found, your localized business model into local environments. And in order to do that efficiently, I implore you to use the same tools, the same infrastructures where possible in your local environment as well. Then you can double or triple your R&D investment, or depending on how many countries you have, you you can increase your R&D budget exponentially instead of if you have all the different tools in each and every country. The second challenge, which is very easy to tackle nowadays, is consolidated financials. How can you, in a cost-efficient way, get all the data gathered together, take into consideration the currency ratios and the differences in currencies, and still have real-time reporting and analytics in an efficient way. And last but not least, when all of this is done, you can use market discovery and inject your own data to market discovery tools. We can talk more about that in a bit, but a shout out to a company called Vainu. With Vainu, you can very cost efficiently inject into your own analytics platform actual data on the market. So you can have your clients' actual revenue, find similar clients, find relationships between different people, and different markets. And by injecting market data, which has become really cheap to inject into your own analytics, you can do things that has not been done possible, and you can identify which clients will be the most optimal for you in your local market. But okay, now how are we going to do this if we would have to do this quickly and efficiently? So normally you would do it like this. You would create a data warehouse, you would design your reports, and you would find a place to share them. These are kind of the steps involved in winning with analytics. The challenge in doing this today, and why so few companies really have a global analytics infrastructure, is because the go-to insight time is quite long in this framework. If you build all that yourself, we're talking about months to get that up and running. The costs are high per software. I bet you it's around 10,000 euros per software to get the data integrations built, the data warehouses, the models built, so high cost. And there's also high baggage load. If you build all this from scratch the traditional way, you have to maintain these data connections and take care of them. You can't reuse the models in other companies, and it doesn't scale. And there's no cross-company helping out each other. So there's no network of people like, for example, the Chambers of Commerce are doing, creating the bridges between the different countries. That doesn't exist if you go into the analytics framework yourself. And it takes a lot of time to build these analytics infrastructures. And it's not the right people who have built analytics infrastructures of yesterday. It's been data engineers and IT people. And I say we should empower each and every person in your business line, in your company, democratize the data, make it so easy for them to play around with data that they don't need data engineers. They don't need specialized people at all. And this is why we've built BI-Book. BI-Book kind of, it's not our own analytics tool, don't worry. It's built on the global platforms. All we do is we make it super easy as a press of a button to get analytics up and running. And we do it for a fraction of the cost of building analytics infrastructure yourselves. And since we launched BI-Book last year, before that we had done a lot of different analytics projects. We have now completed in a year analytics for over 1,000 companies. So we've grown immensely, and we have now implemented analytics on over 100 different softwares. And that means that we've localized into most likely every single software you're using today and mapped them up to standard infrastructure that you can, with a press of a button, implement. Now, with BI-Book, what did we want to achieve? And I'll pull all this together in a little bit. We wanted to cut out the data engineer. We wanted to cut out the middleman in these analytics projects and make it really easy for companies like yours to have a global infrastructure, even though you've localized your software. We wanted to use the same infrastructure for thousands of companies in analytics, which allows us to make huge amounts of investments in small problems and really tackle and really spend time on how can we optimize different business processes and different problems. And we also wanted to create an ecosystem, a global ecosystem of business-oriented data analysts. So we wanted to empower the controllers, the business unit drivers, the people who are actually running the businesses to use analytics. And this is what what we've done. And we basically just wanted to make sure that everyone can choose the right analytics tools, Power BI, Qlik, Looker, Tableau, and use the large ones as easy as possible. And like I said, now we're growing very heavily, and we have localized to over 100 different softwares and created the infrastructure. And basically what we do is we've created a data lake. And the data lake, we've mapped all these different softwares into different schemas. So we have CRM schemas, and by schema, I mean kind of a framework on how data works. We've done one for financial data, which we've basically done is we've mapped every single financial software used commonly, globally, or in the Nordics into one schema. And that means that you can have the same framework and use the same analytics independent on which country you're in. And we've taken into account the different accounting practices or the different localization factors and made it really easy to get started with analytics at zero implementation cost. The second thing we have is we have the ability to share Power BI templates. So there's a large network of people using Power BI globally, and they share on the internet. You can Google anything, but still there are a lot of business problems that you can't find by Googling. And what we've empowered people to do is to share data and share analytics between different formats and between different companies. And then we have the ability to share analytics at a really cheap cost. So we bought a Power BI premium server, which basically means that you can have analytics to hundreds of people or thousands of people in your value chain for a very cost-efficient cost. And then we have some other tools as well built around gathering the data and building the data architecture in a global environment. We have staging APIs, which you can use to gather the data, play around the data. We have different tools for forecasting and budgeting and different ways to store and gather files and inject that into your analytics infrastructure. So now we're going to jump into the fun part. This is a real world example of a company. I'm going to do two of these. The first one is this one. This company came to us a few months ago, and they had NetVisor as an accounting software in Finland. They Fortnox in Sweden, Xero in the UK, Visma.net in Norway, QuickBooks in the US, Sage in the Netherlands, and Germany. We never found out. It was just Excel files being sent as a general ledger, and the consolidation tool was an Excel file with group transactions. Now, first of all, what you can see is there are different tools that you could use globally. You could replace NetVisor, Fortnox, and Visma.net with PerCounter and use the same tool in all countries. You could also use QuickBooks in the UK and in the US, so you could make this infrastructure easier. But what we were able to do is a one button press per software. We were able to connect that data up, grab exchange rates live from the European Central Bank, and then connect their own source data via the company's own API, gather the CRM data, the hours data, the HR data, and the recruitment data, and some other valuable data, and even inject market analytics into this. And we were able to do it within a month. So this infrastructure isn't anymore a problem. Previously, this would have been required a huge administrative organization to run this. Nowadays, you can, with the press of a few buttons, actually create awesome analytics and understand and run your business and get daily insights into all of these companies, even if you're using all these different softwares. Now, all of these are also quite good and okay softwares, so you can get some own ideas on what tools you can use to globalize from this example. Now, here's another example. This was a larger company, not much larger, had a few million more in revenue, and they had chosen to implement a global ERP, NetSuite. We also do NetSuite implementations. We're the NetSuite European Partner of the Year also, and have done a lot of these implementations. And using a tool like NetSuite, if you have deeper pockets, the ability to make an initial investment, you can have the same tool in each country. And isn't this a nicer infrastructure? I mean, I think this is a much cleaner and nicer infrastructure. But the challenge with this infrastructure, again, is that you don't have the best of breed tool. And it's harder to find localized partners if you don't utilize a network like the MSI network. But again, this was their infrastructure, and they were able to go to market with their analytics within 2 months from start, and the initial costs were very, very cost efficient. The reason why you can't just build a button that automates your analytics on ERPs and these larger CRMs is that because you can customize them. And that's why I definitely implore you to find easy to use softwares in the beginning once you're starting out that can't be customized, because you're going to find a huge network of vendors that provide services and integrations. But if you go the customization way in all your softwares, you're going to be alone and you're going to have to build everything yourself. So this was another real world example on how to tackle this. So the takeaways for today have been one, find good local partners when you're going global. Focus on finding people who know the business and know the local software area. Also find local resellers if possible, but you need to understand the local market, and remember that it's hard to implement everything exactly as you've done in the first country in the next few countries. The second thing is to use your network. There is a large network of companies going global as well, but there is a large number also of organizations like the Chambers of Commerce that help you go global. So use your network, ask for help, spend time with people, and it'll also build your network and make it easier to go global. Ensure you have good data quality from the start, and I cannot emphasize this good enough. Every single thing you do, you neglect in your data, you will have to fix later at some point. It's easier to have it good from the get-go. And I don't mean having like the same accounts in every company if we're talking about financial data still. I just mean that you use the raw data to play around and with the data, use the raw data, the transactional level data, and you look at that and try to figure out, is it good enough? Is it too exact, or is it not exact enough? And really spend time on creating good data from the start. Choose global software vendors when possible. It's not always possible. For example, payroll, you cannot globalize payroll softwares. In Finland, people used accounting softwares. They use also a tool called Mepco. In Sweden, use Hugia. But there isn't really a good global payroll software out there. So that's definitely an example of a local software that you can't globalize, but you can definitely globalize your CRM, your ERP, and maybe even your accounting softwares. Now for accounting, either go the best of the breed way, so choose the best local accounting softwares that are as automated as possible and that you can find good partners for, or go global with an ERP. Don't forget to inject market insight into your analytics. It's important for you to understand your own clients, play around with your data, and inject that into your business model. And that's very easy to do. If you know where to buy the data from, you can even get it free of charge to play around with the data. And for anyone at the call today, we're more than happy to spar and help you out. We'll send a link to a booking calendar where you can book time if you want. It doesn't cost you anything to spar with us to find the most optimal business model and infrastructure and local partners if you need help with that. And you can also try out these data analytics infrastructures for free. And yes, you heard that right. We can connect your local accounting softwares or your CRMs or ERP free of charge for you to play around with the data and do a proof of concept on your own data. So I think with these 7 steps, we can definitely take a lot of takeaways and build the infrastructure tomorrow. And for all the more technical people out there who want to be even more technical, I definitely implore you to play around with some technologies just to understand how they work. You can, with some tools, build your own robots in a few minutes. You can build Power BI dashboards in a few minutes as well, using Microsoft's own training platform. You can utilize Power Automate or other automation tools yourself. So I think everyone should play around with these things. It's not for everyone, but it's good to know that these sites can definitely help you out with that. Okay, so this was a very intense session on how to go global and win with analytics. We talked about what softwares to choose, how you're gonna build those infrastructures. We went through some real world examples on on what good analytics looks like. We played around with some software infrastructures as well, saw some real challenges and how you could solve those. I hope you've been able to take something with you from this webinar. We're very grateful for you that you participated. And if you have any questions, like I said, you can contact us at any time, and we'll help you figure out how to go global and win with analytics. My name was Jonathan Tier, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to speak to all of you today. Thank you, and the link to the booking calendar, if you're interested, will be in the chat in just a minute. All right, we're out of time, so if anyone has any questions, we can stay for an after session, but otherwise, thank you and have a great day. Okay, and the booking link is with you now in the chat. And the material will be sent to you after this webinar. Thank you. Bye.